Hi there, my name is Peta, and today I will be discussing the use of celebrities in advertising using classical conditioning processes for my PSY 1011 assignment. I chose question 2. The research conducted by Brian D. Till, Sarah M. Stanley, and Randi Priluck in 2008 explains how celebrities are used in commercials through classical conditioning processes to be associated with the company's product in order to increase the likeliness and positive attitude towards the product. This research is mostly relevant to my topic as it clearly explains how classical conditioning has been used in the media for advertising and why it is so effective. It uses modern day examples which are easy to understand and really interesting to research about, making it more compelling by presenting it to you, as opposed to choosing a complexly worded article from the 1950s that isn't really relevant to advertising today, or us in that matter of fact. Now, the reason as to why the researchers were drawn to this topic was because billions of dollars have been spent on celebrity advertising and 20% of television commercials star a famous person. Therefore, the experimenters really wanted to discover the effects of celebrities used in advertisements. This area has also not extensively been researched in the past. So let's talk about classical conditioning. So it was discovered by Ivan Pavlov in 1903, which originally used dogs. So Pavlov conditioned dogs to salivate to the sound of a bell. And then in 1921, John B. Watson transferred this to humans. So he got little Albert to be conditioned. He conditioned fear into little Albert of white rats. Cool. So classical conditioning is a simple form of learning caused by repeated association of two different stimuli. This is when the conditioned stimulus is paired with an unconditioned stimulus to elicit a conditioned response. So classical conditioning can only occur when the neutral stimulus that eventually turns in the conditioned stimulus equates to no relevant response at the beginning. You can extinct a classical conditioning response by no longer pairing the two stimuli, and the conditioning could have a negative or positive effect. But today we will be focusing on the positive effect on products, as marketers want to elicit positive emotion into their consumers. So I have gone out of my way to make a diagram that clearly communicates what classical conditioning is using products. So like an example of what marketers would do. So I used Gwen Stefani and perfume. The perfume wouldn't have created the positive attitude if I hadn't paired it with Gwen Stefani, which in turn would make the product more desirable and making people want to buy it. So the main reason as to why companies use celebrities in their advertisements is because they want to elicit positive emotion into the consumer. However, using celebrities can have a negative effect on the advertisement if they are involved in a scandal, which could have a negative influence on the evaluation of the customer. Therefore, marketers have to choose celebrities that best fit and are minimally controversial. And that's why I chose Gwen Stefani, because she is minimally controversial, she's well liked, and she's a family orientated type of woman. Perfect. So, the aim of the study was to determine how effective classical conditioning was on individuals when using celebrities to evoke positive attitudes towards their product. The hypothesis predicts that participants in Group A who are exposed to this systematic pairing of the product and the celebrity will have a more positive concept of the particular product in comparison to Group B who are not exposed to the learning process. So, participants consisted of 78 school students. They used an independent group design with 43 participants in the treatment group and 35 participants in the control group. They used convenience sampling and allocated the students in groups according to what classes they were in. The materials used were an answer booklet, a pen, and a PowerPoint presentation, which varied between the two groups, and it was conducted in a classroom setting, which obviously included tables and chairs. Perfect. So in the procedure, the experimental group was shown the PowerPoint presentation where the unconditioned stimulus was Jennifer Aniston and the conditioned stimulus was the Gara styling gel, and they were paired 5 times. Other images of celebrities and products were also presented, such as wooden shoes and Michael Jordan. However, the image of Jennifer Aniston always preceded with the image of Gara styling gel. The control group was shown randomized photos of celebrities and products with a 4-second blank side presented after each slide, showing no pattern. The experimenter turned off the lights in both conditions, showed the presentation to the participants, and later asked them to answer the questionnaire that was presented in a 7-point semantic differential scale. So this measured brand attitude and had the following items listed on the screen. Perfect. So the results were statistically significant. The hypothesis was supported as the mean attitude towards Gara styling gel was 4.69 in the experimental group and 4.15 in the control group, which presented a p-value of 0.01. So I've gone ahead and made a graph of the average positive attitude for groups A and B. And as you can see, that group A that was exposed to the learning process achieved a higher average positive attitude than people in group B, the control group, who weren't exposed to that process. In conclusion, it is therefore confirmed that participants who are exposed to classical conditioning procedures develop a more positive attitude towards a product in comparison to those who are not exposed to the learning process. So, limitations of the experimental design include, so when using the independent group design, 82 participants, 78, may not have been enough to take into account the participant variables, which can act as an extraneous variable and affect the results. More people also needed to conduct the experiment as opposed to using a repeated measure design that uses the same amount of participants in both conditions. So, however, this condition avoids order effects, which is like fatigue or boredom, if experienced, which is really positive. All ethical procedures were followed and adhered to, which included informed consent, withdrawal rights, no harm to participants, and all the participants were debriefed at the end of the experiment. The experimenter used convenience sampling, which could act as an extraneous variable, and this could have evoked bias. Scientists can't draw conclusions from this study as the sample is not representative of the population. However, convenience sampling is really convenient for the experimenter, and participants are readily available to participate in the experiment. So the authors also presented simple data, so it wasn't difficult to read, such as the p-value was presented, standard deviation, and the mean. So implications of the study is that some companies tend to match particular celebrities with a particular product that best fits, which suggests appropriately fitted pairs are more effective in the learning process in comparison to advertisements with random celebrities portrayed with their product with no actual significance. So, in other words, we didn't discuss the appropriate pairing of the fitting celebrity with their product. So, if the experiment was conducted with better fitting celebrities, for example, Stephanie Rice in a Speedo, the results could indicate different. So, the participants may have been biased towards the product in the first instance and therefore acting as an extraneous variable, which could have a positive or negative effect on results, either way, changing them. So the conclusion written by the author is strong and is open to other methods of studying this research, meaning that the authors didn't demonstrate any fallacies. For example, they mention that there are numerous ways to extend the current research. They provide other means of testing classical conditioning processes and celebrity endorses. For example, they mentioned if we examined the effects of celebrities over time and under various conditions, it would contribute to a better understanding. Also, if we matched celebrities with particular suiting products to make it more clear in advertisements. Overall, there were many strengths in the experiment. The hypothesis was supported and demonstrated statistically significant results. Participants who were exposed to classical conditioning procedures develop a more positive attitude towards a product in comparison to those who are not exposed to the learning process. Thanks for watching.